Welcome back to part 4 of 10 for the new Technician Trials. This stage is different from the previous 3. Instead of weakness and all-out attacks giving point bonuses, only physical and electric attacks provide a 7-time point boost. For part 1, the enemies have no weaknesses, and since they are not resistant to physical damage, we will be using Wonder as our damage dealer. For that to work, we'll need to bring out Yoshitsune. My Yoshitsune is perfectly built, however, it is not required. It can be done without any overclocks or maxed out passives. Supporting Wonder will be Leon and Moko. Replace Moko with Chord if you have her. Satanta unfortunately is too weak for this team I'm running and is not very viable here, unless you're running Chord or have a much stronger team in part 2. We'll be using Futaba here to implant physical weakness, perfect for part 1. As usual, use your 2 highest attack persona in the 2nd and 3rd slots. Moving on to part 2, we're faced with 2 enemies. One weak against electric, and the other having no weaknesses. We'll be employing the Alice instant kill technique here, killing the enemies with an instant kill once we hit the 3-star point threshold. To facilitate this, Closer will be our damage dealer here, with Wanda as the sub damage dealer. Soy and Mona will be used to keep the party alive while also dealing occasional physical damage. Do not be afraid to initiate all-out attacks to bring down the enemy's HP. Wind here makes this process a lot easier, especially against the enemy that has no weaknesses. If you have Ryuji, you can make the second part a lot easier by replacing Soy. Use God Hand and kill the shadow with no weakness, allowing you to easily focus on the second shadow. As for Wonder, we'll be using Pour for electric damage, followed by Girimekala to inflict forget on the enemies, and lastly Alice for the insta-kill. Here we use the Ex Machina dagger to further boost Closer's damage. With the introductions out of the way, let's get into the fight. Part 1 is extremely simple. Simply buff Wonder with the supports and heal the team when necessary. Aim to clear part 1 within 3 turns. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of part 1 and see you in part 2. For part 2, the enemies tend to hit really hard. Soil alone will not be enough, therefore we brought Gear Red Color to inflict forget on the enemies, further increasing our survivability. Chances of surviving are rather slim if you fail to land your ailments. The general strategy for part 2 is to use Mona's skill tree on the enemy with no weakness to reduce its down points, eventually allowing for a knockdown. Similarly, Soy's gun or skill 2 is extremely helpful as well in doing so. This not only allows us to bring the HP of the enemies down low enough for the instant kill, but also grant points as well. Wilson and Wonder were focused on the enemy weak against electric, occasionally inflicting forget on the enemy if required. Once the point threshold for a 3-star is reached, use Alice and insta-kill the enemies for a win. With that, good luck with your clears, and thank you for watching.